Daniel, I'm the founder of Tenkara USA, and our vision is to introduce a simpler style of fly fishing to the US, the traditional Japanese style in Tenkara. So the basic components of fly fishing really are rod, line, and fly, and that's it. You can come to a stream, you can learn how to read a little bit of water, identify where the fish might be, and all you have to do is cast to the fish. When it comes to fishing, I really want my fishing to be about the experience. I don't want to be encumbered by the gear. I just kind of like to go out there, catch fish, enjoy my surroundings a little bit more. It becomes more about the fly fishing experience, and that allows you to enjoy more time in the water, more time fishing versus getting tangled, worrying about your gear, worrying about which reel you're gonna bring with you, what kind of line. Tenkara, I think it is the right tool for anybody who wants to get into the sport or anybody who wants to simplify their fly fishing. So here's the Tenkara gear that I carry with me. I carry one of our Tenkara rods. If I'm going somewhere like this with a larger water, I might carry a 13-footer. Or if I go to a very small stream, maybe a shorter rod, a 11-footer rod. Then I carry a couple of the traditional lines, which I really like because they have a very delicate presentation. If I'm dry fly fishing, which is what I do most of the time, that's definitely my preferred line. Spool of tippet, maybe a couple of spools of tippet. Usually I carry 6X, that's kind of my standard. I carry one of our spools with the level line, ready with a couple of flies tied. And then just tie it on. And then of course a fly box, and I don't carry a whole lot of different patterns. I carry primarily, I'll carry caddis's, a couple of Dr. Shigaki's flies, he taught us how to tie, and a couple other patterns as well that I try every now and then. But you don't need a whole lot of patterns. So that's pretty much it. An angler can have all kinds of gear, but that's not going to make up for his technique. And the best way really is to just kind of go with the simplest gear. Some people might think that Tenkara is simply dapping, which is kind of letting the wind take the line, or simply, just kind of dapping the fly in front of you. And that is one of the techniques you can do with Tenkara. Just as that is one of the techniques that you can do with a Western fly rod, except that a Western fly rod is really short and it's hard to dap on a stream. Some people also think that it's really hard to land a fish with a Tenkara rod, and actually it's exactly the same motion as a Western fly rod. You just lift the rod up and you bring the fish to you. It's not really the gear that makes the fishing, it's the technique of the angler. He can cast, he can land the fish in a certain way, and that's all based on technique, not on the gear at all. In a long rod like this, it really allows me to, really manipulate what I'm doing with the fly. And the secret with fishing is really deciding where you think the fish are going to be. In small streams, it's relatively easy. You kind of find eddies and you find little pools that are formed in front of rocks or behind rocks, and you cast to those spots. In this case, for example, there's a little bit of a current, there's a pool there, there's an eddy in front of me, and there's a deeper pool right in the middle. I mean, these are all likely spots to hold fish. A lot of people use floatant for their dry flies. I've never used floatant in my life. All I do is some false casting. If the fly is sinking a little bit more, I'll blow on it just to get some water out. If it doesn't work, I might blot it in my shirt, and worst case scenario, I'll just change my flies. But I really prefer never to use any toxic material, no matter how little it is. To me, floatant is it's toxic waste. In small streams, stealth is extremely important. You don't want to be banging the rocks or making any noise on the rocks. I mean, talking is totally fine, but you don't want to be hitting solid surfaces, because that sound, that vibration is going to transfer right to the fish. And as much as possible, you kind of want to be out of sight, so that's one of the reasons to fish upstream. The fish are usually facing upstream, and if you're coming from downstream, they're not going to see you. One of the techniques I like, I'll cast downstream into the current, and I'll kind of keep my fly in place, or maybe move it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, pull it up with the force of the current, kind of fist, making it go down. That current makes the fly stay on the surface, and I do catch quite a bit of fish doing that. Oh, caught a fish. Good size. And this is where the net comes in handy. Now hold on to the fish or try to get the fly. Always use barbless hooks so that I can get the fly without hurting the fish and a little bit more easily without handling him that much. I'm always trying to visualize where the pools are. I just caught a fish here on this pool, so chances are there's not going to be they're going to be spooked. They're not going to catch and bite because it's a very small stream. But I see there's another pool there. It's kind of shallow, but there's a chance there's going to be fish in there. So before I move up, I'll do a few casts. Oh, he got up. And the same situation, I mean, he bit, he splashed a lot. It's a small pool. Chances are I'm not going to be able to get anything else to rise in there. Not impossible, it happens. I'll try a couple more casts, but not very likely. And fishing close like this, I mean, that's, if you're stealthy, very gratifying. You can see the fish coming for the fly. And I kind of believe with the Tenkara rod, it's a little bit easier to fish close because your fly line is not splashing in the water. You're naturally a little bit more aware of what's going on because you are fishing closer. If the pool's a little bit closer to you, you can always move your hand up or even shorten one of the segments. If you catch a fish, just pull it back on. But you can always try to shorten your rod just to kind of give you a little bit more precision. Nothing there. Had a bite. And with the dry fly, if you're fishing a dry fly, you can usually see a little bit of splashing, but the main thing with the Tenkara rod is that it's extremely sensitive. If you're fishing under the surface, you're gonna feel something, and then caught a fish. And then I'm fishing with one segment shortened, so I just extended that. I'll get my net handy, and I'll come to the fish as much as possible so that I don't have to wear it. And that one is trying to go up the current. And a lot of times you have to hand line it a little bit, and then you can net it. That's a beautiful rainbow.